Okay, all right. Hey Adam, how you doing? I hopped on a few minutes early tonight and give everybody a chance to come in and before I start actually doing anything. We did started to do a set of spring tongs, and one of the ends busted off because I got it down pretty fine, pretty small, and you know, it was a spur of the minute thing, and we were just guessing at the dimensions to use. We survived the cyclone. Yeah, I heard it was pretty rainy, windy. That reminded Lexi of, oh God, Quad State. When we were at Quad State, there was a pretty bad storm that rolled through. Did a lot of damage down south. But it made for a pretty miserable weekend. Very wet, cold, bit breezy. Yeah. So I'll just wait a couple minutes at it and probably start right around 6 o'clock here. And it's like 55, so it's 5 minutes off. I just wanted to pop in early and give people a chance to get in before I actually started. But we started doing this, and I left myself 4 inches, and then I drew it out to however long this is. And then drew the other one out to match. And it wasn't quite enough material, so I had to get it down pretty thin to get any length out of them. So I got another bar out, another piece of 3/4 by 1/4, and this time I left the same 3/4 on the end to make the part that actually picks up, that I broke off this one. But then instead of the 4 inches, I left myself 6 inches here on either side. And then instead of 3 inches, I gave myself an extra inch here on the hinge as well. And we'll see what happens. Stop incident. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do tonight. Something you pretty much already saw. But we're going to do it again. And we're going to keep doing it until I get it right. Because, you know, that's the only way we get better. If we have a failure and then we just quit and never go back to it, you know, I mean, if I'd stopped when I made that, stopped and said, oh, I messed it up, and never went on, then I wouldn't have made any more nice ones. Because I did go on to make a couple more. The one that I made during my live stream, I gave away at Iron in the Hat, my club. Then I did another one that came out fairly well. Got a curved handle. Little spatula. This one here, I was kind of playing around. I took the same amount of material other than here. Down here, I had a little more on it than this one. I left an extra inch of material there, but the handle on both of these, I used the same amount of material on, and I played around with stretching it and making it thinner and making it longer. And I made that pretty big. Using the same amount of material. Hey Tim, what's up? But, so like I said, if I keep going, I'll get better. If I just stop and give up, I'll never get better. Alright, what do we got for time here? A couple more minutes and then on the hour I'll throw this piece in and warm it up. Well, I can throw it in and start it warming up now. I got a little door here on my forge, and this door is to come down and close up my flue so that my, because I heat the garage in the winter and all my heat doesn't go up the chimney. Alright, so once again, I could take the once again I could take the guillotine tool and neck down that area to leave the material on the very end that I'll spread out and make the jaw, I guess you'd call it. But instead of doing that, I'm just going to keep going. Do it by hand using just the corner of the anvil and my hammer. And it teaches, it's just really, really good practice in hammer control. Before the stream, Thomas talked to me last weekend after the stream. We talked on the phone and he was saying to me he hasn't gotten around to making any hold downs. So I took a piece of spring steel, coil spring, and made a hold down. To send off to Thomas. That's a long one. I got long ones and I've got short ones. I'll probably make him a short one too, or just give him one of the 6 or so I got up here. Maybe I'll give him this one. Whoa! Fire's hot. Fire's hot. Now I'm going to have, oh, no, I see it. I was worried I was going to lose my mark. You see, I'm starting to make my shoulders there. Yeah, well, I've got the air barely on, so I wasn't expecting it to be quite so hot and burning. And I pulled it out and let it sit there for a minute because it was burning. But yeah, if you guys want to talk to each other, and well, obviously Adam and Lexi aren't gonna, you know, talk to each other in the stream. They can just go talk to each other, but side conversations are welcome in the stream. just working that down, trying to get a nice shoulder made there without damaging my corners. It's kind of hard to do if you swing really, really hard and aggressive, so it takes a few heats to get that shoulder established. The guy that I first saw doing that without using the guillotine tool and stuff, he'd been swinging a hammer for 40 years, full-time blacksmith, so he'd get right in there and really aggressively do that in one heat. Accommodation. Ooh, I got a lot of material there. Alright, so I got that knocked down. I'm getting real close to being a 1/4 inch square right here, which I don't want to go any smaller than that. Now I'll take a heat and I'll really start drawing out between there and the 6-inch mark, because all that is essentially going to end up being about 1/4 inch round. Right now it's actually easier to talk and chat. In her accommodation, alright. So like I said, last time I got them pretty thin because I only left 4 inches to draw out. This time I've left, watching on my PC versus my phone. Okay. Cool. I'm just watching, I got an aquarium on up here on the TV. Watching that. Watching the chat. I'm going to go in. Set a notch. See, I'm putting a bunch of notches in there. You can see how rough that's leaving it, but that's drawing it out as opposed to going over the horn of the anvil, which would do pretty much the same thing, just not as aggressively. Own space and privacy. Fuck, privacy's over. Oh, crap. Crap. Privacy's overrated. Now I just tip it down a little bit to start cleaning it up. Still not flat, but it's tipped down. And you can see that area from there to there, which was 6 inches, is going to just keep growing. Material's got to have somewhere to go. Next heat, I'll probably have to cool down that handle then. Oh, God. All right. Yeah, and Tim's here. Tim never says very much, just pops in and says, hi, I'm here. All right, so let me start. Just working sections of it down. Now I'm starting to work it down, trying to get it even, sized up. Pull that handle end down a little bit. But I was trying to get a little better at doing that ladle so that I could, do that as a demonstration for my local group. Because we're kind of, helps out if everybody does the demonstrations and pitches in, because we get a bunch of new guys in, and we're going back to stuff that we've already learned a long time ago and redoing it because you got new people. But it always helps just to have new people with new demonstrations. I'm just working little sections up till I get to that big notch. Trying to keep it somewhat consistent and even. And once I get to that notch, I will measure out how long it is. Probably just put a mark on my anvil somewhere so that I can draw the next side out to the same length. Hey Kevin, how you doing? Still don't get notifications for some reason. But yeah, the people that want to see me don't get notifications. The people that don't want to see me are probably getting tons of them. Alright, so we're just drawing that out, nice and easy. I'll move up and do another little section. Notice I'm bringing my hammer in and driving that corner in at a pretty aggressive angle. Now I'll go flat. Flatten it out, see where I'm at. Alright, let's do some straightening. You can see It's getting longer. I still got to go to that notch, but it's already longer than the last pair was. But the last pair would have been too short to use for barbecue, which is why I added an extra 2 inches. Now that I'm getting it drawn out, I'm thinking I probably could have added 1 more inch and had plenty. The butane lighter I used to light the forge doesn't work. Really, now I've heard a lot of excuses not to go out and forge, but my lighter didn't work. That's a new one. I don't even smoke, but I keep a couple out in my forge. Whew. All right, let's go for a little more. Angle of the hammer, digging right in, digging right in, digging right in. Digging right in. Now I'm flattening to see where I'm at. So now you can see I'm getting close. I gotta go a little farther to get to that notch. Gonna cool my handle off again. And I'm not gonna lie, if I wasn't doing this as a demonstration, I would establish my 2 points where the 6-inch marks were made, and then I'd just go to the power hammer, and I wouldn't do all this by hand. But if I did that, this project would be over in half an hour. And yeah, matches in newspaper. Yep. My lighter quit. Yep, that I gotta say, that I've heard a lot of excuses, and that's got to be the top dog there. All right, so now I'm going to set the other end point where that notch was. So I'll bring it to the close side of the anvil for me. And do the same thing. Drive it down, flip it, drive it down, flip it, then trying to hit just where I need to establish that. You can see I'm starting to establish the shoulder right here. I'm going to go back, take another heat. Heat your friend. Don't be afraid to heat it. So this pair is going to be considerably longer. And yeah, I just kind of had that thing the other day. I was getting ready to post a post on Facebook, you know, and be like, hey, if anybody actually still reads the the paper, you know, can you save them for me to light my forge with? Because newspapers aren't as easy to find as they used to be. Oh, good deal, Kevin. I mean, not that it matters. To be honest with you guys, I'm not looking to monetize. I'm not looking to ever make no money. I could care less if it's 2 people watching me or 20. But you can see I've established that. I'm still a little thick through there, so I'm going to take one more heat. I'm getting pretty short, so that handle keeps getting hot fast. Take one more heat and try to get that size down a little more. And then, since it is just all you guys, what I may end up doing is hopping over there, throwing it through the power hammer just to get it sized all evenly. I mean, I can do it by hand, but it's a little faster over there. Two subscribers. Yeah, I think I've got 22, 23, somewhere around there. So, now you can see it's drawn out. It's gotten pretty long. It's fairly even, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat this up. I'm going to throw a kiss block in over there on my power hammer, and I'm just going to size that. I've done most of the work by hand, but if I want it to come out more accurately, throwing a kiss block in there will do it. So let me move that up so it doesn't burn. I just clamp a block in there. I'll bring one over and show you. I have blocks that are welded up at different angles. Okay, so one of my subscribers might be my other account. Yeah. So I got blocks that are welded up, and what it is like that's 3/8, that's quarter. This one's 1/2 inch, and that's 3/16. And I take it and say I want 1/2 inch. I'll come over and put it like that with the 1/2 inch up, and then just clamp it to my die. Then I can come over right next to it, and when my hammer comes down, it's going to hit this and stop. It won't go down thinner than 1/2 inch. So I got my 1/4 inch one in there. I'll go over and flip my hammer on it. If I was going to do a whole lot of hammer work, I would have set the camera here up over there, pointing at the power hammer, so that everybody can see it, but it's not that big a deal. I'm going to go ahead and see, all that did was made it a more accurate and smooth taper, or size. But how's that for size? So I don't have to put any marks on my anvil, because that piece is drawn out right to the length of my face. So now I know that's how far I want to take it out and square, and then I'll just round it up after that. If I would have had a camera over there, you would have saw that my kiss block started coming off. So I'm going to come over here. My clamp was off and my kiss block was starting to jump. I'm going to actually switch it out for a different one. This one has 1/4 3/8. That one had 1/4 3/4. But with that kiss block, I can also go back, stand that up, and go to round. Fairly easy, fairly fast. We'll do it right over there. And I might do that on the other half of this too. I wish I'd have known I was going to spend more time over there, because I would have brought that camera up about halfway in between the two cameras, where the two cameras are right now, and then brought the camera that's doing the close-up over there so that you can see what's going on in the power hammer. But it is what it is. I could round this all up by hand. This is just faster, easier. I've already been out here a couple hours screwing around. So you can see in one heat, I rounded up about half that. Now I'll push it in, heat up farther back, and do the other half. It's just so much faster in the power hammer. And like I said, maybe I'll either do that or I'll find another cheap camera, go buy another extension, because these are, I'm running, these are cheap USB cameras. And I've got like a 20-foot long USB extension cord on it. Then I can run from there over and set another one up right there, pointing at that. And I can put that one right on. I don't have to buy a whole stand for it or anything. I can clamp it right to my hammer rack or over to my drill press pretty easily. Alright, so let me heat this farther back. Round up some more. On the other end, what I may do is establish the two ends and then just do everything in between with the power hammer, because it'll be so much faster. Although It's really only 6:28. I got a lot more time. I'm pushing this in and out of the fire to get a longer heat. And we'll try to round up that whole next area with the heat I got. I think I might have to take one more. Alright, so you can see I've gotten from here to about there. And I got that much more that's still square. Alright, Kevin, see you when you get back. God knows which account he'll come back on. Let me heat that last little bit up, and we'll go ahead, round that last bit up, and then we'll flip the ends. I'll cool that end off, we'll flip ends, and we'll start working out that taper on the other end. But yeah, newsprint's getting kind of not as abundant as it used to be, so I I start my fire a lot of times with my paper bags from Walmart. And like today, it was paper bags from Walmart and some scraps of curly maple. Alright, one more heat. Okay, I can't get all the way in. If you were listening, you'd hear there's a lot of times I was missing it because I'm really trying to hold the hammer back. Now the problem I have is this is hitting the back of my hammer, so I have about an inch left that I couldn't reach. I have two choices here. I can cool this end off here, heat it up, grab this end, and go in and do it, or I can do that last inch by hand with my hammer, hand hammer. So that's probably what I'll do, is just do that last inch by hand, just as easy. Then we'll start the other end. And can everybody hear me good? Because I've got a couple different mics I can turn on. I'm not really sure which one of the cameras is on. I have the mic on in one, because if I turn it on in more than one, then you get echoes. Alright, let me get this last bit rounded up. See, I got that last inch rounded up. Now it's all rounded and ready to flip to the other end. Start working the other end down. And we'll start right on the very end. We've got our 3/4 of an inch. I've got a little nick in the bar. I don't know if I told you guys that. I used to center punch these bars, and then you put a center punch in, and then you'd have a hard time finding it when it's hot. And Steve would do them, and he'd put a notch right in this bar on the side, and they're much easier to see on the side of the bar than they are a center punch. Good day, Tommy boy. Yeah, hey Tommy. So I was saying earlier, Tom, before the stream, I grabbed out just a chunk off of a coil spring. And made a hold down or hold fast out of coil spring. Now that's a good long one. It's reaching way out near the middle of my anvil. I don't know how big your anvil is. But the other one, I'll probably make a short one, kind of like this one, which is really nice too. But the short one I'll probably just do out of mild steel, because you don't really need spring steel on a one that's that short. Alright, and we're working on, we just flipped the bar and we're starting on the second side. And I don't know where that it fell down behind. Oh no, this is it. It did not fall down behind. The other one fell down and I found it. So I'm starting on the other end of the tongs. These are considerably longer than the first set. Alright, so find our notch. We'll come back right there where it's kind of sharp on the anvil. I'll hit it twice, flip it, hit it twice, flatten it, and try to come in and step it down without ruining them shoulders. So there's the first heat. I just got it established. I'll get back in there, heat it up, work that down a little more. Like I said, I may end up just getting the two ends established and then going and just drawing it out on the power hammer. It's faster, it's easier. These guys already saw me do one side. So if you do have to do it by hand, it's totally doable. Go out and get me a measurement of what? So you can see I'm getting a little closer. Take another heat. That's the hardest part for me. From pitch a hole out to 4 or 5 inches. Ooh, okay, well this one is from pitch a hole is out about 8 inches. This one. That puts it out near the center of the anvil. But like I said, I got this other one, I could probably just send you this one. That one comes out about 5 inches. That other shorter one, I don't know if that's mild steel or spring steel. It doesn't really matter when they're that short. Alright, so you see I got that down. I'm actually a little bit thinner than I want to be, but I still have some material that I can push down this way and end up good. So now I'm going to go back and heat up back there where the other mark is. You can see it right there. And we'll establish the other end of that tape, that the long round bar. Yeah, so I got one that's, like I said, that one's about 5. Because I mean, I can spare one. You know, who needs that many? But to be honest with you, I use that one more than any of them. And that's the smallest one. And that's just a round style one that I didn't even, square up or do any of that to. Keep the heat coming. I turned my air way down so I wouldn't burn it up if I got distracted. Alright, let me start the other end to get a little more heat. So now I didn't make it so small like I did the last one, so now when I make the 2 ends, they won't break off like that one did. Hopefully. Alright, I'm going to pull it out, find my mark. That can't be my mark. Hang on a sec. Oh, there it is. Sick. I'm looking at a different mark. Now I got a good mark I can find. Even though I wasted that whole heat. Alright. Get her going. Get a good heat on it, and then we'll establish that other end. And then I'll decide whether I want to go over to the hammer or do it by hand. I mean, either way, I'll probably go to the hammer because on the hammer I can make sure that it's a smooth, consistent size the whole length. By hand, my eyes aren't that good. You know, it's not even that my hammer isn't that good, it's that my eyes aren't that good. I can barely see the difference between a 5/16 and a 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so there, flip, flip, there, 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 there. See, I'm just establishing that shoulder into the piece. I don't know what's up there. It looks like a goldfish looking down at it from the top. So what else is up, guys? I just cut and pasted that so I can throw it up every so often if new people pop in. So they'll feel free to talk. There we go, that's a good heat. Alright, you can see that end and that end are established. I still got all the material in the middle. We'll heat it up. Go right over here. I got the 1/4 inch piss block on the hammer. Like I said, if I didn't know I was going to use this hammer as much, I would have moved one of the cameras up right here so that you could see. I mean, I can do it by hand if you guys want to see more by hand. Time is it? 6:47. Still got lots of time. Maybe I'll draw it out by hand and size it up later. You can see how radical a size change I just did in one heat. And that was by driving it down. I didn't tip it up as aggressive as I usually do, but sometimes I just leave some hanging off the edge and just smack half on, half off. It's still doing the same thing. 45 today. Let me get a drink here. So you can see, once again, driving the corner of my hammer in. does the same thing as going out over the corner or over the hammer, the horn. Then I'll go back and flatten it out. Being careful when I get to that edge that I don't hit where my shoulder is. And you can see it'll draw right down, just getting longer. I'll do one more heat there, and then I'll move down the bar, do a couple heats and get it pretty much most of the way done, and then I'll go over the power hammer and just to smooth it out and size it up. It's just so much easier with the hammer. But I'm showing you that you can do it without the hammer. You don't need the hammer. It just takes a couple more heats and more practice to be able to get it as smooth and straight and flat and even. The other thing I've been practicing too is raising my hammer up higher. So that I'm getting a full swing. Which is another exercise that takes some getting used to. So you can see, drawing it down, it's not very notchy, it's pretty smooth and even. Now I'm going to move up and do that part. So how's the shop coming, Adam, Alexis? You guys get any work done on that? You guys going to be streaming soon? These are like some barbecue tongs with a spring. Kind of like these that I messed up last time, but they'll have the jaws on them that broke off. One of them broke off this one, so I just broke them both off. But more like not forging tongs. These are cooking barbecue tongs. All right. See the notches? Now I'm just straighten it up before I go back in the fire. But you can see I knocked quite a bit of the width out of that already. Oh, now you can see my belly. Better zip that back up. Alright, so once again we're just drawing it out. And you'll see I'll use that to get it most of the way there, but then you'll see I'll switch and I'll start bringing my hammer in at an angle and just driving that corner in to draw it out. It's a little safer and I don't go past where I want to be. You see the notches. So we're just drawing down some more. And it takes a few heats. I mean, you're drawing a lot of material there. I'm taking 6 inches of 3/4 by 1/4, and I'm drawing it out to 13.5 inches. So, it takes a little bit of work. And you're losing some for scale and stuff because that should draw out to at least, I mean, if you didn't lose anything, it would draw out to 18 inches long. All right, good hot heat. Let's get some work done. Check my length. I'm getting there. If you remember, I got to draw it to the face of my anvil. But I'm pretty close. Now I'm just going to go over the power hammer. Got the dies in there that are going to let it go right straight to 1/4 inch square. And then it should be just the right length. I could do it by hand and just keep working it. Cool. Whatever you do, don't build that shop into a Faraday cage so that you can't use your internet out there like Thomas did. You can see just by using the hammer I can make it more consistent. You can see there I'm a little bit thicker. Okay, I got to remember left is right and right is left. So you see at that end I'm still a little bit thicker, but starting to get there where I take that thickness out, it should be past the end of that and fall right into place. So one heat on this other end, and then I'll go back and just round it up. That'll take a heat on each end, or maybe 3 heats. And then we'll work the spring part in the center, and then finish up with the we'll work the spring part in the center, and then we'll finish up with the jaws, basically the parts that are actually gonna touch your hot dog. No dirty jokes. kind of glad my hammer has been working pretty good tonight. The last couple times I used it, it was tripping the circuit breaker out every other heat. I shouldn't say it in here, or it will have to. Alright, let's go back. Your spot is just a little bit thicker still. Alright. So now that we're even all the way down that length, we should be right there at the length of our anvil. Once I round it up, it's going to get a little bit longer. So this should take a couple heats. Should start a bit farther back. Because if you remember from the other end, I could not reach that because I was hitting the back of the hammer. If I make a kiss block that I can put in there so if I can go diagonal, I'd be able to do much longer. But on the last one, I had to go back and just do that last inch by hand. So this time I'll just do that end first. So we'll take a heat, we'll go over there, we'll round it up. Oh. Pinched a nerve in my back and my leg. This leg is just completely numb today. Alright, so I started on that end. I got a little section there that I couldn't reach because it was hitting the back, but I made it about halfway in one heat. Before I go to the other end of that, I'll go back and grab that section because it'll warm up faster right now. Alright. Yeah, Thomas, as a joke one time, I took and made a pair of tongs and I put the bit ends on both ends of one bar and then tapered down the whole reins in between them. Then rolled them around and put the rivet in it, but never cut the other half apart. I think I saw Bill Corey did a pair like that. I think it was Bill Corey. Okay, so I got that last inch rounded up. Now we're going to go and finish out that end. bit of heat there. Round that up. Hopefully they'll be about the same length. If not, I may have to go back and take the kiss block out and just draw down a little bit more on one end to stretch it. Why would you need to make a claw hammer? I mean, you can buy one of them in a store. Unless you want to make it just to learn how to make it and practice and experience. Alright, so now we're rounded all the way to the other end. Let's check our measurement. Okay, we're quite a bit longer. I'm almost to the end of the step on that end. And on this end, now, that's going to be maybe half an inch shorter. We just get a tape measure and measure it. Tape measure. So from there to there, I got 14 and a half. From there to there. It's only a quarter of an inch difference. So, we'll go back into this end and I'll stretch a little more material out. I'll pull the kiss block. Or maybe I can do it with the kiss block. If it's just a touch over the finished thickness, I can take a little bit more out of it. I only got to gain a quarter of an inch. What would be funny? Alright, I think on that one end I'm still just a little bit thicker and I didn't bring it all the way down to the kiss block. So I think I can draw another quarter inch out of that one end. Maybe. I bet you that did it. $15. 13 3/4. I went a little bit too far. That's all right. I'm going to make that up in the in here. All right. Now we can start working on that center spring portion. I'm going to remove the kiss block in case I want to come back here. The flatter you can get that spring, the better it'll work. So I may want to do most of the thin in here, and then once I get it down pretty thin, go over there and just put it under the hammer and make it nice and flat and even. I mean, most nights I'm in the mood to just do all of it by hand so you guys can see it. You can do it all by hand, and some nights I'm just feeling lazy, like tonight is one of them nights. Alright, so I'm going to take this part and we're going to make that spring part. So we're going to take it down at least 1/8 of an inch from the 1/4. Oh, the tongs that are bent and riveted but can't be used. Yeah, I think Bill Corey did a set and put them in the gallery at Quad State. I think was where I got the idea. I'm pretty sure it was him. I mean, I know where I got the idea. I just not 100% sure it was Bill Corey, but I think it was. Alright, so I'm going to be stretching this out. So you're going to see I'm going to bring my hammer in at an angle and drive that corner right into this steel. So that I'm getting most of my stretching lengthwise and not so much in the widthwise. Flip it out. And hammer it down a little bit. Check my progress. You can see I still got a lot of hammer marks in there. And I'm still pretty thick. Gate it up and give it another pass. The one thing you got to do is, if you want your work to look nice, don't be afraid to go put it in and heat it a couple more heats. A lot of people just want to finish it so fast that it's all rough and gnarly and they didn't go back for that one more heat to clean it up. The guys at like Ken Schwartz at Colonial Williamsburg used to say that, you know, 5 extra minutes at the forge might save you a couple hours of filing. All right, more heat. Yeah, it's probably a good thing I used the hammer. I'm trying to get this done around like 8 o'clock my time, so I can go in and have dinner at a reasonable time. Once again, just taking heats and bringing it down, making it thinner, drawing it out. Trying to keep that 3/4 inch or so width. I know it's getting longer because I've got a box over here on the other side that I'm poking into, getting ready to push off. Box of drill bits that I wasn't hitting before. And to speed it up, I may just go over here and use the hammer again. I know it's cheating. You can see that takes it down, makes it pretty even. Takes almost all the hammer marks out of it in one heat. But I am still a little thicker than I'd like to be. We'll take another heat. I keep getting over there and I'm giving it some pedal and it's not hitting. It's coming down almost touching because I don't want to go all out. It will squish a piece this size with ease. It'll go from this 1/8 inch to nothing real fast. But every once in a while I get a missed one where it doesn't come down even though it should be down by the amount of pedal stroke, and that lets me know that I need to put more air in the tire again. Alright, let's do one more round over there. And it was getting to the point where if I stand it up, it's getting thin. And just a little bit extra on that foot pedal and it would have folded this right in half. That's why I came over here to straighten it out by hand. So you can see we're flat, we're pretty even widthwise over the length of that. I'll come in and I'll taper these down on the two ends. And I'll do all that by hand. We don't need that power hammer anymore. The rest is going to be all hand. I'm surprised you guys aren't having like little side conversations between each other and, you know, whatnot. Just trying to get it centered in the center and an even taper on it. And you can see I got little notches there that are going to be difficult, but you can take them out right here. So now I got it all in line, in the center, a nice bevel tapered down to it. I'm going to go ahead, pull off this end, flip it to the other end. Here. Then we can go out and do our jaws real quick. Side note, my attorneys submitted my visa. Did they already turn down? Did you apply for a visa and they turned it down already once? So is this like an appeal or? Had to run the youngest through the creek bottom. Okay. Don't know what that means. And there's always the silver lining. If you get deported, you can come back and go to Quad State with me next year. Yay! I know you don't wanna, but I'll put a silver lining in your bad circumstances. Sometimes it's a pain just trying to get it nicely centered. It's off to one side a little bit. I got my taper, but it is off to one side. We'll fix that. We're not going to move on until we get it the way we want it. Okay. Here on a holiday visa. All right, I gotta move it. Literally, sometimes that little bit is all it takes to get it where you wanted it. Ah, we went too far. Alright, so now we got our both ends tapered. Our center part is made. Suppose all we got to do is cool it down in the center there and go back and work on our jaws. But I can tell already this one's going to come out a lot better than the last one. I'll take a little bottle here and get some water in it so I can cool up on that center part since it's too deep for my slap toe. That was weird. Flip it, get both ends. Now the whole thing's cool. And grab it here and we can work on these ends. Once we get these ends done, we're done. The creek bottom to take a shower. Okay. Why, thanks. The papers do look alright. I mean, sometimes that's the hardest part, is getting that transition from one size to another to look nice. Alright, Alright, so now we're gonna lengthen out those jaw pieces and thin them out a little bit. If you remember, we left about a 3/4 inch square on the end. Then I think I'm going to want to take that and stretch it out so that it's about 1.5 inches long and keep pretty close to that 3/4 width. So in theory that would make it half as thick. You're going twice as long. But you will lose a little to scale. But we'll shoot for that 1.5 inches. See where we go. Taking a minute to heat up because I have just a huge amount of clinker in my fire right now. I'm so close to the end I don't want to mess with it. Once again, driving that corner in. Bringing it down, stretching it out likewise. Alright, I gotta pull a clinker out here. I don't like this coal because my clinker never stays together. It's hard to pull it out in one piece. So it's hard to clean the forge on, clean the fire on the fly. That didn't work too well because it all fell right apart. Get a little more coal in there. Oh. let me let that fire burn down a little bit and reestablish, because I poked around, tried pulling it out, it fell right apart. I didn't get most of it out, so I shoveled a whole bunch of new coal on the top. So I get enough heat to finish off what I got left. Alright. That's going to be good and hot. Get it in there. Alright, so we're going to shoot for like 1.5 inches. Let me find a spot. Okay. From the edge of the anvil to about halfway through my hardy hole is 1.5 inches. So I can use that to get close. And I'm almost there. So I'm just going to flatten it up. Okay, so now we've got it down. We're still pretty close to our 3/4 inch size. We're 1.5 inches long. We'll put it in, we'll take a heat on it, then we'll bend that a little bit. We'll put the curve in it, so we can pick up hot dogs or salad or whatever with it. It's going to be a hard part over here, but get it. So you can see, put our curve in to our end. Let's cool that end off. Get the other end in. Get our curve in that end. Orient it, because right now that end is not parallel to back here. But while we got it hot, we can twist it and put it where it belongs. And on something like that, I don't bother going to the vise or anything like that. I'll just hold it, grab it with some tongs, and turn it. It's only 1/4 inch round at the, on the stem part of it, the base of that, where it needs to get twisted. Once again, fire's getting really dirty. I've been using it. I was using it for a couple of hours before I started the stream. So, and like I said, I don't care for this coal because my clinker doesn't stay clumped up. It falls right apart, even when you let it cool off. A lot of times if you cut the air with good coal, you can cut the air, let it cool down for just a minute or two, long before your fire goes out. Reach in there and pull that clinker out in one big piece, but this stuff just falls, the clinker falls apart. So it's kind of a pain when you're trying to clean it. Alright, what did I do with the tongs I just had right here? I'm going to lose all my heat by the time I get it twisted. Alright, so now we're oriented. We'll heat it up, we'll come back, we'll draw it out. And we'll put our curve in it. Welcome back, Kevin. Alright, let's get in there. From there about halfway. Go a little bit longer. So basically, I take one more heat, clean up the marks, and by the time I get them notches out, I should be just about to the right length. Yeah, inferior clinker. Well, the clinker is a pain in the butt. I'd rather have it produce a lot of clinker, but have it stay together and easy to pull a big chunk out than to have this where it doesn't produce a whole lot of clinker. It takes quite a while, but you can't get it out. Okay, that looks like that's pretty close. She's pretty smooth. Almost all the hammer marks are out. Take a heat, put a curve in it. And Holland Anvil, I got their swage block. Guess who's back again? Alright. Alexis. How close am I? But I've got the Holland Anvil swage block with the spoon molds and stuff in it. Alright. That's close enough. Alright, so we got our curve in it on both ends. And now all we got to do is work that center. Get that bent around and we'll have our barbecue fork. Now remember, we started with 15.5 inches was our starting length. And we are at about 40 now. So that's a lot of drawing and stretching out. I mean, it's pretty long. It's up to here. Let's get her through there, through my pass-through and the wall behind me. Let's get that center part heated up. And bend it around. Put a nice loop in it. Hopefully we can make a better looking, smoother one than that. I mean, I kind of gave up on it because it was broke anyway on that one. mean, if I wanted to, I could clamp a, like a nice round piece of stock in the vise and bend it around that to get it just right and straight, and smooth, and perfect, but put my tong ends together so that they meet good. Come in. Get my tong ends together. Good. So I brought that around in the first heat, got it around, making sure my ends are lined up down here. I'll heat it up again and work it down a little more. Like I said, I could put a piece in there. I find something about the right size. Maybe a piece of pipe. That might be too big, we'll see. That's smoothing it up a little bit, but now I got it uneven. I got to fix that. But it is a lot smoother than going over the horn, so not a total loss. I'm going to take a pair of tongs. Put it around there. Come in here and give it a pinch. Right now, all I'm doing is trying to line them up and keep these ends the same place and get this loop centered on the end. So I'm just putting it in there onto the pipe, and it's got to push that way, so I'm hitting it right here. That's all. Maybe if I go like this and put it up so that when I hit it, it doesn't just tip down. And all I'm looking for is the center line lines up. pull these open a little bit, cool them. So that they're naturally. Okay, so if you were watching, I wasn't really explaining too good because I was just doing it. But when I put it around the pipe, I grabbed it right here with a pair of tongs and squished it. And that made these two corners here pretty good. But it was way offset. So then I just hammered here and brought it to the center. And now I'm just looking at all my other pieces and seeing how everything's lined up. Now naturally you want them a little bit open to begin with, and then you're going to squeeze them when you pick up whatever you want. You can see there's just a little twist in it, needs to come out. Pipe's hot. I can take this and just clamp it right here. Then just take a pair of tongs, twist it a little bit, and line it up with the other one. And some of that stuff you can do cold. See, I'm lined up pretty good here, and that one's just a little bit longer than that one. Lined up pretty good here, but that one's longer than that one. So probably what I would do is just go grind a little bit off from that one to make it the same. Or tilted tongue ends. Hold on. You mean bend them here and tilt them down? I mean, if you look, my tongs still have a gap there when these are hitting at the tips. And that's probably how I would leave them. I mean, I can pull them out cold and stretch them a little farther so that when I squeeze them, I can grab something. Depends on what you're going to grab. That's probably wide enough for most everything. That's still got a twist in it. I may have to heat it up a little bit to get that twist out, or to get that twist, because it was just turning in my vise. Maybe I clamp it closer to the center. I think that did it. I went too far. So there you go. Like I said, these started out, they're long enough now to use in a barbecue. Is tape measure. They're approximately a little over 19 inches long. I don't know if you can see that. 19's right there. So like 19 1/4 inch long, so they're long enough to use in a barbecue grill. To grab my hot dog, flip it. I can't explain how to grab a wiener at the right angle. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, you wiener grabber. I understand. I know exactly what you're saying. It is, however, a little too close up here. Because when I squeeze it, when I got my hand all the way out here and I squeeze it, it kind of pinches right there. So that, I could probably open that up a little bit. Fairly easy just by putting some kind of spacer in there. And bending this a little. There, that opened it up. But now I gotta open the whole thing up. There. That's better. Now I'm not getting a pinch back here. Alright. And that was a fairly easy project. So now what I need you guys to do is think of something else, and maybe next time I'll do one of the things that you guys want to see. And you got to remember, I was just winging it on this. Lexi said make a spring barbecue tong. What time we got? Oh, look at that. I was planning on finishing right around 8 o'clock. So I can go in and eat my dinner at a decent time. If Thomas doesn't call me, yep, let me get my shut my blower down from my forge. And dig out my fire. I don't know, and if I know ahead of time, like if you want to see something, I may even be able to practice and not do it on the fly and make all my mistakes in front of everybody. Oh, I hate this clinker doesn't stay together. There's a ton of it. I think I'd be better off just scraping off the good stuff off the top. And if you're saying, how much clinker could possibly be in that fire? That's all clinker. That's almost all clinker. Okay. And that's clinker. So there was quite a bit of clinker in that fire. There was almost that much clinker the other night, a couple of weeks ago, when I did a forge weld on that wheat twist. These guys were here for that. I know Lexi was. Well, what'd you get from Amazon? Anything good? Quarter 3/8. 5/8. 3/4 inch. 3. Yeah. Okay. All my tongs are back in the rack. To be honest with you, Kevin, I have noticed that when you are, when I forge weld up billets and stuff like that, and I'm using, you know, borax, that a lot of times it does actually help hold the clinker together and comes out in big pieces. But it is what it is. All right, so there's that. So what are we thinking for the next project? Throw some ideas out there so that I can figure out what I want to make. Yeah, barbecue tongs. I mean, I can reach down, grab a steak, flip it, grab a hot dog. Probably wouldn't work very well on a hamburger, but there they are. They lined up pretty good there. My length is pretty even and consistent from here to here. You know, with my round there and my tapers, about the same length. It's not that bad. Alright, so DM me in the middle of the week. Yeah, and like I said, I probably could have done Thomas's thing on live. But I came out here a couple hours before the stream, so look, it holds them down. A trivet, huh? To be honest with you, I've never made a trivet. But if I did, I'd probably, in order to make a trivet and make it halfway decent, I'd probably want to make a jig. So I could get everything even so they rivet together good. And I'm not sure, even then, if I could do all of the trivet in one stream in like 2 hours. But I'll keep it in mind. Like I said, I've never made one, and for me, hey, this is all just, doing these streams is all just an excuse to get me out into the shop and swinging the hammer and just, you know, getting more experience and practice. More practice, you know, and learn better hammer control. The more you do it, the better you get. Anyway, Holland Anvil on Monday announced that they were going out of business. They had made their last pour, and they were going to sell off all their remaining stock, or a lot of their remaining stock, and then shut down. So I already had the anvil with the swatch block with the spoon depressions and the ladle depression, and then on the back side had the big 5-inch round depression. I already had this one. I've been wanting the other one that has the holes in it. This was like 55 pounds. That one's like 10 pounds heavier. It's like 65. I've been putting it off. So on Monday, as soon as I saw it, I went online and I ordered the other one. And my credit card was on hold. The payment was on hold for a couple days. So I was kind of wondering whether I was going to get it or if they ran out, and so they didn't actually charge my credit card. They just put the hold on it. And then I want to say Thursday I looked and they had charged my credit card. So hopefully I have the other Holland Anvil swatch block coming. I mean, I haven't seen a email from them either stating that that they wouldn't be sending me one and they were out. So yeah, those aren't too bad. They're not terrible. They're not great. So yeah, like I said, I went right on. As soon as I saw somebody had posted it, and they said, as soon as I saw the post from Holland Anvil, I was at work. I just went right on, grabbed out my my credit card, or actually it might have been before I went to work. But I got my credit card right out, punched it right in, and bought one. And that was about the only thing I really wanted from Holland Anvil that I don't already have. I have a couple other Holland Anvil things. I've got the little cone mandrel already. What else do I have from Holland Anvil? That might be it. I mean, I got this thing, and to be honest with you, I never use it. I mean, I use that swatch block more than I use this. But I had the other swatch block coming, and I wanted the through holes so that I can use it. I'll build a stand for it that's a little lower, and mainly use it to run drifts through if I drift out a hammer or something like that. I don't make a whole lot of hammers, but once in a while I do. So, alright. The 3-piece scroll trivet looks like fun. Yeah, and the 3-piece scroll trivet, I've seen plenty of them. I really have. But, like I said, I've never seen anybody make one without making a jig. So they can get all the pieces even. But I mean, you'd have to be really good and have a lot of hammer control to do it freehand. But this may go into a pile. I'm kind of starting a pile of cooking stuff. I got a few spatulas I played around with. And I'm trying to make everything kind of longer. If you look, this is about the same size same length on that spatula as them tongs. Because when you're open hearth cooking and reenactments and stuff, they kind of had longer handles on everything. One, I'm sad that is out of stock. I don't know if he's going to make more. Mini swedge. Yeah, Thomas, do you find that if you had the other full-size swedges, you would need the mini ones? Or you just like the mini ones for portability if you're going to do a demonstration somewhere? But yeah, like I said, I was playing around just to learn, you know, practice and get hammer control. Here's one of my, you know, that's got a curved handle. I did go back and clean it up a little bit on the sander. Got a nice end. The spatula end is a little bit small, but on some of the old ones we saw, which were in a collection, they were actual originals. And these were not very big. Not like today's spatulas. But then I took that one and I made this one. This one I left a little bit more, like an extra inch on that block when I started. At a 1/4 by 1. I think I left 2 inches for this one and 3 inches for that one, so that I'd have a bigger spatula. However, the handle end, I used the same exact amount of material on both of these. And this one, I just took it down smaller through this section, and that gave me a lot more. And you can see I made a big loop on there compared to that one. This part is thinner than that one, as in I hammered it down thinner. Yeah, I like the bigger one. That big loop looks kind of cool. I'm going to do another style soon where that Steve showed me, where he takes and he centers that up and then brings it back that way and makes his hook so that you can hang it on like a bar or something. You don't need a hook to hang, because the hook goes back and it's open back there, so you can just hang it that way. But yeah, the bigger one, I mean, I did take that down to a pretty fine point. And this thing is well, pretty close to, I don't know if you can see it, 2 inches across for scale. But I've been playing around making these. I'll probably go down to where I took the class. They do some reenactments there. There's another sport that's really close that does reenactments. And I'll probably just drop all these off so that they can use them in their reenactments. And I'll throw in the tongs. I don't know how traditional those would be, but I don't see why they wouldn't be, because, well, let's face it, they got made with all the period stuff, so there's no reason why they couldn't have made them. But that's about it. And with that, I am going to probably going to sign off. Go in, grab some food. It's 8:09 now. Alright guys, have a good night. And I'll probably be back next week. Like I said, during the winter, I'm going to try to get out here every Sunday. I may not. I'm not really worried about, I have no obligation or no, I don't have to come out here. I just do it because I'm doing it to spend a little more time out in the forge. But I'm not a content creator. So if you're tuning in, you may see the same project twice or maybe even 3 times, because if I mess it up really bad, I may try it again on the next stream. You know, like those tongs. Those are the ones I did last week that I broke the tongue off of one side, and then I went ahead and took it off the other side. And when I was doing this, it gave me some idea as to, if you remember, I just grabbed the bar, said I'm going to leave 3/4 of an inch for that end, I'm going to use 4 inches here, 3 inches there, and on the other ones I knew that I needed more material here, so instead of 4 I went to 6, which gave me a lot longer, a lot more to stretch out. I think instead of 3 back here I went 4, but I made the loop bigger. And I didn't break off the one side this time. The other side I cut off on purpose. But now I can use them for chopsticks. Alright guys, I'm going to sign off and go get something to eat. Have a good one. Stop.